There was Gorilla House, then there was the Rumble House. Now there's the Isle of Roux, where no one can tell us what to do. That animation is really lovely.
In it.
I love it. I love it so much.
If this asks me sorry, carry on.
That's right. I was just thinking, like, that always makes me want to do more animations. Seeing that.
That's what we're here for.
I know. I love that. I'm swiping to see if we are live on the Facebook. So we are here at the Isle of Roux. Thank you so much for joining us here, for adventuring out into the universe to find us at this island. Scared? Okay, so I'm just going to do like this. I'm going to start with the land acknowledgement.
That we borrowed from our district.
It's yeah, it's good. The Creator gifted us with this land that we are blessed to share and care for together. We acknowledge that the land we gather on Wakinstis is the ancestral territory of the Siksika Sitapi, the Siksika, the Gaina, the Piikani, and the Amskapi Piikani. We acknowledge all First Nations and Métis of Treaty 7 lands, the Tsuut'ina, the Ithkabi, which includes Bearspaw, Chiniki, and Goodstoney. We commit to advancing reconciliation guided by truths, respecting treaty laws, and humbly walking alongside First Nation, Métis, and Inuit. We recognize all who live, work, and play on these lands and who now call this place home. I had to smile the very first line, the idea of the Creator gifted us with this land that we were blessed to share and care for together. Like, this week we've had big stuff happening in the universe, in our universe of Canada, and I feel like we just have to remember that we're all brothers and sisters and humans together.
I'm just doing a few things. Be interesting.
I'm so interesting.
You
are.
Yeah,
actually the same thing on the same tangent of like being reflective of this week. I was thinking about the was it Tanit? I'm interesting what I'm thinking. It might have been T from last week. We were looking at T because I was thinking about the idea of you or you, and no matter who is running the space around you, you stick to you and you remember your name and you think about like what it means to be you. And I was thinking like that just reading the land acknowledgement made me think of all these things. Like we're on Treaty 7 land, and like people moved in here, and Indigenous people got to know the people that moved in here, and there's always movement of people, and there's always movement of values and movement of what's going on. And I think to continue to treat each other with love and gratitude is very important. So
right.
I think we're in a very valued and privileged place to be able to do that, because we have the knowledge of our past, and then we're able to keep going forward. So that's lovely. It's nice. I have a nice feeling thinking about that right now. We last week we were on vacation, and we were so chill, and we were like, oh, we can just like sleep in and do whatever. And then this week we were like,
life is way harder to sleep. And I thought to myself on the way home, man, tomorrow I hope I have enough energy to do the Isle of Roux.
And I was like, Rich, we have an hour before 7. He's like, it's not Tuesday. So.
Oh, I misled you. Oh. Because I thought it was Tuesday until I was halfway home. So I knew it was Tuesday by the time I picked you up.
Okay, good.
Do you know where I put my phone?
I don't. Bud, do you want me to look for it, or would you like me to be?
I want you to be interesting to the people.
Oh, look at me being interesting.
Tell us a joke, Jesse.
Okay, so I'm not going to tell you a joke.
Actually, if you get the people, if there's anybody online, to text me at 403-629-7424.
Yeah. Rich can't find his phone, so if you text
403-629-7424,
he'll be able to hear a ding.
Call now for a free set of steak knives.
We have 6 people with us, and we're very grateful for you. 6
people. 6 people. Who are they?
We are live to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. We have StreamYard. We're going out of StreamYard, so we can see all of. If you message into us, you can message us from any of those platforms, and we can message you back.
You should probably text me because I cannot find me. Oh yeah, and also I'll put into here. In the comments is a link if you'd like to join us.
Also, look, this is what I'm working on, is the an Isle of Roux flag. So we have a Gorilla House flag, we have a Rumble House banner for our tent, and we are going to be... Oh, hi! How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, so good. You found your phone?
I'm just landing here at the airport at the Isle of Roux. You hung up on me.
Sorry.
I'm a monster.
I had a weird fear, actually, about feedback. Is that weird?
Feedback. It is weird.
Because phones, I don't think, do that anymore.
Yeah.
Gina
texted me to help me find my phone.
Gina, I was just thinking about you when Rich was saying 403-629-7424.
That's 403-629-7424. Can you give us, do you remember the recap of where our Isle of Roux family left off?
Me?
Lost Hero X. Can you tell us the story?
Okay, so Rich.
Just in case there's any new people that don't even know us.
Oh my goodness. Could you imagine stumbling upon the Isle of Roux?
I just did.
So we... For Lost Hero X. I'm very...
Sometimes I say stuff and you laugh like I'm the funniest guy ever, and I think I should just act like I meant to be funny, and then it'll be... How are you laughing at?
First, the Isle of Roux started... No, the Lost Hero... Yes, I do. Yeah. The Lost Hero X started... I think we started shooting last summer. Because we were preparing for starting the Isle of Roux in January. And we're like, when we are busy teaching, we should have some content to start with.
And so over the summer, we shot like 5 episodes.
I think so. And the very beginning...
And then we waited 5 months to share them.
Yeah, that was hard for you.
Yeah, right.
The beginning concept of the Isle of Roux was all about this idea of struggling in a space, like coming home and being like, nope, I can't do this. Like, I think there's been a few episodes where, like, we just had to get out of there, and we jumped in a spaceship, and we went, blow me to Bermuda! Like, just like in the...
I never said that.
Well, I say it all the time in my head when it's from the Sword in the Stone, because Merlin goes, blow me to Bermuda! He gets frustrated with everything. And so then we are in our spaceship.
Yeah.
And we keep trying to go away from Earth. But then, lo and behold, we always end up finding our way back. But then this new evolution of the story is Felix keeps, like, saving us.
Don't give too much away.
No, but he keeps saving us. Like, from there, like, we leave him alone in the ship for a little while we go out to do something, and he ends up, like, battling space monsters. And then we're, like, come back. We're, like, we see him sleeping. He's just like tired from being worn out from battling all day. And I like that like reoccurring theme is like Felix just like quietly is saving us every day, which I think he really does. I think he saves us all the time. And
so
sorry.
Yeah, we're just there now. One day Felix woke up and he was alone in the ship. His parents were missing. And the Wolfman, not Wolfman, but the Wolfman had abducted him. So there's just this long screaming sequence, and then Wolfman gives him some Pringles, and Felix astutely realizes, you're not here to hurt me, are you? He takes Wolfman to see Plutus, who actually provided them with their ship. Plutus informs Felix that he needs to rescue his parents from the Dream Hunter. I don't know. I can't remember that. I want to call him the Dream Eater.
Me too. It's interesting.
Yeah. Okay. And then the Dream Eater Felix goes into super blastoid overdrive, which I will never forgive you for.
Creative mode.
That's okay. You're contributing, and that was great. So I should not tease you about
it. Nice job, Jesse.
Yeah, no, you did good, Jess. You did so good. Okay. So
pause your reinforcement.
Yeah.
So he went into supernova blastoid.
He was rescued, and this is the first episode after that long arc was resolved.
That he rescued us.
Yeah, but now this is after that arc, and this is the first episode of. He starts to question, why are we doing this, Dad?
Dad? Why are we still doing this?
Why are we doing what, Felix?
Well, why are we still doing this?
The spaceship?
I guess.
I just needed to get out. Like I just need to get away from, all the stuff. Things weren't, we just decided we're going to go.
Yeah, but Dad, isn't that a bit like running away?
Yeah, it's a lot like running away.
Yeah, but Dad, I think we should go back and make the world a better place.
Maybe.
Jesse, what do you think? Jesse, you haven't spoken for a while.
Yeah, you haven't spoken since we're abducted by the dream hunter. We were just talking about how it doesn't really matter if people enjoy what we do because we enjoy what we do.
It's so funny.
What is this development? We did recover. We didn't even notice that you make chicken noises instead of speaking. What will happen next in the Lost Hero X? Yeah. I don't know how you stand it. Actually, there's 8 of you with us. I will give you $1 million or a painting if you connect with us in any way. You could text us something. You could write in the comments. You can click on the
link in
the link and join us in the For Real. I sent a link to my cousin Alex, who I was talking to earlier today, and I think Alex might join us.
Oh, fun!
And then if he figures out the paperwork there, how to get in, all you got to do is click a few things. But anybody can join us. You don't have to be, digitally savvy. I would suggest you make sure you got pants on. Like that whole COVID, we're doing things with COVID. That's weird. That train's going by and the on-air light's flickering. Now that could mean our building is shaking. That's affecting one of the whatever. Or it could be that it's sucking the energy out of the air. Like there's 10 people with us. It's been a while since. That's a nice live group. We've been actually having a lot of success throughout the week after the Isle of Roux.
Right, yeah.
Some weeks we've only had 1 or 2 people here with us online. But I see there's 10 of you, and we'd love you if you join us.
Yeah. So kind of a brief too, we were talking about Rumble House, and we were talking about the evolution here in the Isle of Roux and how it's afforded us a space to be. Oh, Scott, except
Okay, look it.
Bye.
My cousin Alex, who's an artist
Alex.
and is doing an event with the community that he works with, said he had a situation he has to deal with. That's okay. We're here every week.
We were just talking, like the idea of having this space and being able to explore different parts of our creativity, and hopefully affording you guys the same opportunity to like have something on in your home, a little portal into another universe. Like I said, like watching your animation, even the opening animation makes me want to animate, and then thinking about
can I tell you something?
Videos. Yeah.
I've had some really nice people say some really nice things about those animations.
That's so wonderful.
But I also used to do hand-drawn animation in the olden days. Even when I was in grade 5, I used to do stop motion.
Yeah.
And we just saw The Empire Strikes Back, and it was actually the Tauntauns when Luke was riding around on the Tauntauns. Mm-hmm. That's how I learned how to do that. They made a short TV documentary on the making of of Empire Strikes Back. And inspired by those Tauntauns specifically, I taught myself how to do, while I was flunking out of school, by the way, I taught myself how to do stop motion animation with a Super 8 camera.
Yeah.
But then in art school, I was a one-man animation department. I was the only person at ACAD that was interested in animation while I was there. They had this like $100,000 camera that was the same kind of camera that Disney had. And I spent 2 years making short handmade films with a hand-drawn cells.
Yeah.
I had a special technique that I did myself. Want to know what it was?
What?
Well, the animation cells are about this big, right? And then you shoot them with a camera a lot like this.
Yeah. And
then you draw the backgrounds, and then all the things that move, you have them in the foreground.
Right.
Well, I cut mine in 4. So I had to work that much more accurately. But my 3 hand-drawn animation films were made at a quarter the size, which meant I could paint things.
You made 4 films at the same time?
No, I made my film a quarter the size, so it took way less time to do.
Oh, nice.
In it.
Do you see Scott's with us?
Scott, I am so happy to see you. Do you want to join us?
Scott's like one of the closest to our members on the Lost Hero X because he flies airplanes.
Right.
We fly
Scott
spaceships.
Scott was talking about being involved in some schooling, and I happen to be teaching a pretty fantastic learning strategies class. I'm pretty proud of my learning strategies class. We've covered something good almost every class. I mean, that's not true.
Well, it's you though.
But something brand new and exciting every class. I haven't started a class without kind of being like, boy, if I knew this when I was a kid, I'd have been a lot happier. So what are one of my tips? One of my tips is this. At some point in your life, you were given a map of Canada, and you were told to color it, and then you're told to make a legend with all the names, and that was supposed to help you learn the names of the map of Canada. That would only work if you actually thought about what you're doing while you colored it. So most kids will just color it and talk to their friends, and then when they're done, they'll do the section with the
capitals and
write down the legend, and it doesn't make that connection. But if you just simply think about the province while you're coloring it, you'll lock down all the provinces and you'll never forget them. So I was quite pleased to share that with my kids. And this is my own weakness because of my, not my autism, but my ADHD, which isn't new for me. I'm not like adult diagnosed ADHD. I'm like patient 0. I have a really hard time with names. Even when I know your name, I call you Jeff quite a bit. Yeah. And people think that's weird. I know your name's Jessica.
I just respond to Jeff.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if I change rooms at school, I don't know anybody's names. I walk into a classroom and the entire class are kids that I know, but none of them have names. And it happens. I pass through the door. I don't know their names. I go back in the classroom. I know all their names. I was in the staff room maybe 10 years ago. And Maxine asked me about a kid named Luke. And I'm like, there's no Luke in my class. She's like, oh my God, he's in your homeroom. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And it was the first time I noticed that I had this problem, that when I change rooms, I don't know anybody's names. I walked back in the classroom, I'm like, oh, of course, Luke. Like, I know Luke.
Right,
I'm not
yeah.
stupid. But then I
Yeah.
walked out of there, I'm like, yeah, there's no Luke in my class.
Yeah.
And so, oh yeah. So I am reluctant to admit that I probably knew with some confidence. Now, in 2 days, we got to the point where the kids can draw the map of Canada without even looking to a reference, which is pretty amazing. But I would say on Monday, I drove to school and I thought, what am I really bad at? I'm like, I have a terrible understanding of geography in terms of even just Canadian geography. So I would say I knew the territories and pretty much up until Manitoba without a problem.
Mm-hmm.
After Manitoba, I was kind of like, to be honest, I often would be like guessing whether Ontario and Quebec were which was which, which is shameful for a Canadian to admit.
No.
But I showed the kids a technique for learning things once, which is to think about what you're doing while you're coloring. Yeah. And after that, I would say the second time I tried it, I went from like 5 out of 13 to 12 out of 13, and on the third time, 13 out of 13.
Amazing.
You amazingly got, I think, about 11 out of 13 on your first try. And I would say that's pretty exceptional. But you also walk around pointing at the clouds going, oh, nimbus cloud. I'm like, nobody learned that but you. You don't need to know what a nimbus and a cumulus
cloud there was a beautiful cumulonimbus lately with the beautiful story.
That's not a thing. You're making that up.
Also, it's a weird thing, but the song too also wanted me to clouds in my coffee.
You knew that before you learned them? You were in grade 4 when you learned clouds.
But it like reinforced wanting to keep like having that stuck in my head.
What do I want to do? Be in the picture with you? Or okay, here's my idea. I'm gonna move this. Are you listening?
Yeah.
You're gonna put your stuff up here. You're going to pretend this lens right here is the most important person in the world. And you're going to talk. I'm looking at you because I'm obsessed with your beauty.
I brought in, I asked Felix's permission and I brought in Sunny Blueberry into my kindergarten class.
Sunny Blueberry. Okay, listen, I need an idea for tonight. Because I did not give it any thought because I did think it was Tuesday.
We are... What about I don't know, I feel like adventures, like the idea of
I'm tired of drawing adventurers. You have to realize I sold 2,700 paintings to keep the Rumble House open, and I am done for ideas. Somebody give me an idea. Actually, of the people that are with us, if you tell me an idea, I'd be happy to paint it or draw it for you, sketch it, anything. I'm desperate. Kid asked me today, Mr. Tiru, I'm desperate for an idea. He goes, Mr. Tiru, what do you do when you run out of ideas? And I lied to him. I go, I'm never out of ideas. Which is really just like manifesting positivity.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like, no, really, I'm trying really hard. I can't come up with an idea. I said, what's that on your neck? And he pulls out his chain and it's got a crucifix on it. I go, why are you wearing that crucifix? And he goes, because I'm Catholic, I guess. And I go, okay, well, you're Catholic. Are you wearing that crucifix because you're interested in Jesus? And he goes, yeah, Jesus. And the Star Destroyer from Empire Strikes Back. The Super Star Destroyer. That sounds like a good challenge. And I said, here's what you're going to do. I'd like you to like draw me or paint me a picture of Jesus as though he's like right now. And he's come to talk to you and your friends about behaving in my class. And I go, would he be wearing sandals? He's like, nah, he'd probably be wearing Timberlands.
Oh.
And I was like, get on it. And then I looked at the next kid. I'm like, what are you going to work on? So I just kind of like was able to prompt them a little bit to get them started.
Yeah.
The Super Star Destroyer. From Empire. Did you see Empire at the Jube, Chris? Were you there too? I noticed a few people were at the Jube.
Mm-hmm.
I saw their pictures.
Yeah.
Is it going to be a Lego Superstar Destroyer? Or just a mere Superstar Destroyer?
Just a mere Yeah, Superstar Destroyer. Actually, could you say a mere Superstar Destroyer because it's super?
Let's see. Rich create. Okay, Chris. My friend Galen, on the regular, will call me up and say, "Hey, Star Wars is playing at Canyon Meadows. Let's go see it." And I'm like, "Dude, I have seen Star Wars in the thousands of times. Why would I go see it in the theater? I know it by heart." And then we got tickets to the Philharmonic, not realizing they were going to show us the whole film.
Yeah.
And that they play the symphony next to it. Now, I went to go see the symphony. I was kind of nervous when they started, thinking, "Oh, are they going to show us parts of this, or are they going to show us the whole thing?" I was very happy when they decided to show it. When it turned out, not they decided, when it turned out that they were going to show us the entire film, the film in its entirety, and the soundtrack was played by the Philharmonic, which really did give it. There's probably about 8 moments where I stopped and thought, "Holy shit, they're actually playing this right now!" But also,
yeah.
Sorry,
no, that's okay. Yeah.
I was absolutely mesmerized to see it in the theaters again, and I hadn't seen it in the theaters since it came out, and I was in grade 4. And my cousin, my dad's cousin Brian, was a doorman at the Palace, and he invited my family. So, because Jen and I were young, and my dad, I think he really looked up to my dad. My dad was like the cool guy of his cousins. He was kind of a little older than them, and so I think he kind of wanted to impress my dad. So he invited my dad and my dad's kids to come see The Empire Strikes Back in the theaters, opening night, and it was on 8th Avenue, and the lineup went off of 8th Avenue, under the bridge, and around the corner onto the next block. So I'm talking like Electric Avenue was also line up for Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back. And we brought my neighbor, Jeff Hansen. And I remember just the expression on his face as we walked by literally thousands of people to the front of the line, where Brian opened the door and let us in. We bought our popcorn early, and we sat in the first choice of the seats with our legs up on the rail at the balcony, because we chose the balcony and the top of the balcony.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so first Scott said, "Let's see Rich paint a mad scientist doing a cooking show while grooving to epic jazz." Wonderful. And then Scott said, "Empire is at the Grand, May 21st, big screen experience."
Yeah, well,
So
I will
there you
tell
go.
you this. Also, having the Philharmonic playing was pretty awesome, but I do say, go see that in the theater again. I thought it was silly. My friend Galen has invited me a few times. I have to admit, Galen's been right about a lot of things I've been wrong about, and he had it figured out that seeing it in the theaters is cooler than watching it on your old VHS. Scott, I was going to tell you something. Oh, yeah. Here's the thing. And I wonder maybe if you even know this, Scott. We have a cooking show.
Oh yeah, that's what.
And sometimes it's like, I was telling my kids the other day, I asked them, okay, let me just start back a bit. Sometimes it's hard to connect with teenagers about art history because, to be totally blunt, art history can be a little bit boring at times. And when I say that, I'm saying that as an artist who loves art history, but also I can recognize that the kids, are so surrounded by video games. I mean, if you've seen Saw 3, how do you get excited about Saturn eating his sons? You know, like if they always do have a connection to Vincent van Gogh. To get a kid that's not been to an art gallery to stop and look at even a Mark Rothko, you have to talk them into it every time. It's not a natural fit for a teenager to look at a Mark Rothko and go, oh, I'm going to need to own one of those one day. And one of the reasons I think is because they're so overstimulated by looking at like really cool Pinterest and Instagram stuff, right?
Yeah, like kind of like fast food. It's like fast.
Right. It's hard to sell them on the vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started by trying to talk them into being interested in art history. Now, I didn't want them actually. Normally, I have them look at art history paintings, but this was a different experiment. I said, okay, here's the deal. I need you to be able to have a favorite artist by the end of this class. So go get the laptops, and your job is to pick your favorite artist. And I always talk to them about how, like, maybe you don't become an artist. Maybe this isn't a lifelong passion for you. Maybe you're just dabbling in art class because you need to have some options right now. But what you will need is at the point that you've bought all the trucks and campers and you've got a summer house, you've got a ski-doo, you've got a boat and a cabin on the lake. When you have all those things, once you've achieved all that stuff, what kind of car are you gonna have? Oh, I'm gonna have a Lambo. Okay, great. When you have all that stuff, most wealthy people end up putting their money into art, not because they need art on their walls, but because it's just a great investment. And then on top of that, you put art on your walls because it's a way to make your money, make more money. But also you put art on the walls because when you have $1 million house, and one kid that was hard to sell, I'm like, who do you love the most? He's like, LeBron. I'm like, please show me LeBron's crib. And so he looked up LeBron James's crib. And then I said, do you think LeBron James has IKEA art on the walls? And he's like, nah, you're not going to have IKEA art on the walls of a place like this. And I said, so at the very least, you need to be able to choose the best art so that you can buy the best art for your house. And that's something that 100% of I might have kids that are like, my dad's an engineer and he says I'm allowed to fail art. And that's a tough one to come back from, right? But all of those kids can buy into the idea that they at least need to have taste, right? So under the argument of taste, I said, will you please pick your favorite artist by the end of class? And every single one of them bought in 100%. And I was totally shocked because it's usually kind of a hard pitch to get them to do that, right? Mm-hmm. And I did tell them this weird story because you and I have achieved way more than we thought we would, right? Each of us have done more than we thought. Yeah. I kind of had given up the idea of being a writer in my early 20s. I still wrote, but I didn't think I would ever, like we said with the fine arts, I didn't think I would ever go to the trouble of finding a publisher and taking a risk in that and risk being rejected by a publisher. I was not interested in that at all. I gave up on my dreams of being a writer when my first publication hit a magazine. The magazine was canceled the same month. And I was paid, but they didn't put my magazine out because they put their money into, long story. I'll tell that story later. I gave up on wanting to be a writer, but then I got to write. I wanted to go see a TED Talk. That was kind of a mid-dream. I got to give a TED Talk, which was a big dream, right?
And where we met Scott.
Yep. But I was telling the kids about one of the most important moments of my life. It wasn't even a real moment. It was part of a dream. After opening my gorilla house, I went to bed, I fell asleep, and I had this dream, and I was at the gallery, and it was just like the extension of the first. It was on the night of the first Rumble, and it was an extension of the night. So it started out right where the evening ended, and I was just suddenly back in the space. But the difference was in my dream, this funny little guy was walking around from room to room, kind of judging us, kind of interested, not willing to take part because he's very shy, but very interested in what we're doing. And as he stopped and left the building, I looked and I saw that's Vincent. So I dreamt that Vincent van Gogh came to visit me. And regardless of the fact that it didn't really happen, it is one of the most monumental moments of my life that I had this dream that Vincent van Gogh came. And just before he leaves the Rumble, it was the Gorilla House. Just before he leaves the Gorilla House, he stopped and gave me a nod. And I was like, I did it. When I told them that, I thought they would mock me. I thought they would be like, "That's lame, dude." But they're all like, "No, that's actually pretty cool." And even the people that I thought would be like, "No, that's stupid," said it's actually pretty cool. And then they all bought into the idea of that it's important to have a favorite artist. And so I've actually been kind of holding off on going through those notes because I really want to sit down and enjoy it when I do.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I like where this is headed. If I didn't know that I was trying to do a Super Star Destroyer, I don't think I would ever look at this and think, "Oh, that's a Super Star Destroyer." But I am pretty excited about how it turned out, and I don't know why. I like it. So I think I might keep this one. And later on tonight, I will try an Empire Strikes Back painting, because this has kind of turned into something kind of abstract that I like. Is that a funny thing? In terms of like making a representational Star Destroyer, I don't even really think I was hoping it would work out, because it's kind of like a strange image just on its own, right? Like unless I do a super realistic rendering, I'm not going to get a nice loose painting out of it. It's such a stiff shape. But I gave it a try.
I like that.
Okay. Now,
do you want me to tape it for you?
Or only because it's going to drip. Can you put it on the refrigerator?
Yeah.
Okay, so Chris, I will visit that idea again in a few minutes, and I will try desperately to paint you something decent and worthy, and then I'll mail it to you from The Empire Strikes Back. However, Scott has thrown down the gauntlet. I need to try and remember our cooking show.
Oh, Mark's Kitchen.
Yeah.
Backyard with Carmen.
This was when we were
young.
Much younger, right? And just starting out the Rumble House. We had the experience of the Gorilla House. Was it our first summer of Rumble House or our second summer of Rumble House? We had a van. Actually, we had the van before the Rumble House, didn't we?
Yep.
Things were running really smoothly at the gallery. So it was before COVID, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember there being any of those problems with the construction. Super empathize with the people that run businesses in Marta Loop right now, because we had quite an experience running an art gallery when the city had allowed the building across the street to have their own parking signs. Even though we had a bike lane outside of our space. Interesting. The bike line came and then we bought a truck, but the bike line came at the exact same time that we opened.
Mm-hmm.
But we had the van before the truck, right?
Yeah.
I wonder how that unfolded. Some of the story is overlapping a bit in my head.
That as memories
do.
Ooh,
I think you had short hair when we did the cooking show.
So maybe 2016.
Don't know. We did have the van. I remember that. Yeah, I remember getting out of the van to do that.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, so how did this unfold? We didn't have a kitchen at the time. And we had a mandate. Can you be careful of that not getting in my ink?
Yeah.
And my good friend had called me up and said, "I'm doing a cooking show, a celebrity cooking show." And well, we're like, first of all, we are not celebrities. Second of all, we don't really cook. And if we did cook, we don't have a kitchen. So my friend had said, well, you gotta just apply for this thing. It's a shoe-in. Fill out the application form, and we'll do an episode about you. An Alberta business that's celebrities and cooks. They want to see how artists eat, and we're like, well, truth is, we're eating out of paper bags all the time because we working full time as teachers, and then we also
Run the gallery.
run the gallery. So we didn't have a kitchen to shoot in. That was part of it, and we also rarely had time to cook. Now, you're an amazing cook, by the way, but I don't think you had confidence in your cooking at the time for some reason, because you were convinced it was not for us. I have no cooking skills, so I was like, no, I don't cook. And secondly, I don't have a kitchen. You were like, I'm nervous and we don't have a kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
So we partnered up with Mark and his wife, and they loaned us their house. And we did a cooking show from Mark's house. You had taken a recipe that we invented from something we ate in LA.
Yeah.
And shared that with the people.
Yeah. And
my friend asked me several times if we would do this cooking show, and the answer is no, we can't, because we don't have a kitchen. And also, I have a policy of not applying for anything. So I said, look, and we're happy to do anything you ask, but we're not interested in applying. She's like, no, you don't understand. It's a shoe-in. We already want you to do it. It's just a formality that you have to write the application out. I'm like, I'd already been through like C-Space and
no, we didn't.
What's the space? Was it space? What was the space? C-Space?
Oh yeah. What, do you already do that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And actually, that's how I ended up getting invited to give a TED talk. Is I just kind of gone through this conversation with C-Space where I don't mind helping you out, but I don't want to apply for it. And then TEDx had called and asked if I'd be interested in doing some artwork for their event. And the lady on the phone got an earful from me because I was trying to explain, like, no, we're not just here to decorate. We're here for a purpose. And she was very impressed and called me back and said, would you like to give a TEDx talk? I was like, more than anything in the world, yes. But like, I can't apply for it. Like, and that they were really great because you don't apply for a TEDx. You just get invited.
They get asked.
Right.
You get asked too.
So they ended up having the process that we needed. And so that worked out for us. My friend with the cooking show was like, all you got to do is fill out the forms, and it's a shoe-in. I was like, I'm not filling out the forms. And there was some sort of, maybe she was on a grant, and because she had a grant, then it's back to like, you got to apply to a committee. I'm like, no, like, I'm not doing anything by committee. So the answer is no. And like over and over again, she would ask, like, you're being so stubborn. Why are you being so stubborn? I'm like, because I have this belief that I don't ever want to ask permission for anything.
Yeah.
And for some reason, after like telling me like 100 times, it was just a non-negotiable that I had to apply. I didn't have to apply. And they decided we were going to do this cooking show, which was great. So what else was happening that week? Was it also our birthday? My birthday?
It was a long time ago.
Was it the same night that I won that award?
No, because we
I had to go
we
ahead
had
of
the
you.
Rumble, so you had to go.
Was it also my birthday though?
No, it was just a Rumble, but because we cooked, we were not at the gallery, and so we cooked, and then we shot a whole show, and then we still had to go back to the gallery to Rumble, and so the whole crew came with us.
Yeah, I had to leave early
to go to the gallery,
which Mark's wife teased me about. Mm-hmm. She's like, "Oh, you're not going to help clean up?" I'm like, I can't. I have to be somewhere. Thank you." And that was super embarrassing, but funny but embarrassing. And then, so our cooking show, you cooked our special dish, which is chicken
brochette
wrapped in bacon
in gorgonzola cream sauce.
Yeah. And we served to Mark. And
well, also they made the veggies in the backyard kitchen, so then we had enough space to cook because I was doing the chicken inside, and then they were using their outside kitchen, which is so beautiful. They have, not only do they have a beautiful indoor kitchen, they had a beautiful outdoor kitchen as well.
Right.
Then we had dinner together, shot the film.
Yeah.
And then you had to take off. We tidied up, and then we met you at the gallery to do the rumble. We spun the wheel. Then we made art. We had the auction. So that was a big day.
Dead air on the Isle of Roux. Dead air on
not
the
dead.
Isle of Roux.
You know when you're like you fall into a beautiful groove of making art. I feel like that's not dead. I think it's fertile.
Well, I have to make the art and you have to do the entertaining, but now there's no like have tos, so I have to get my head around the fact that I'm also responsible for the dead air. So what else could I say?
I think we're doing good. I think it's nice to be just in each other's spaces. Like we're sharing the airwaves and the space with the people.
The highways and the byways.
Yeah.
We had a friend who showed up and served food at the dinner. Is Scott still there? Scott, so you can see the gourmet chef, was it called? From Shaw Cable.
Oh yeah.
It was on Channel 10. Is that right?
Yeah. I think
And you can see it on the internet. Be like Rumble House Live, or episode 1 we ended up being, right?
Oh, of that season?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
There's a number of times when people kind of expected us to be sort of like, you can fill in this thing. And then we ended up being like, we're going to lead with that one. And that was one of those times that we were really meant to be kind of a filler in for the last episode. And then it went so well in the production that they moved us up to the opening.
Aww.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. Eight people with us.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's really nice. Oh my gosh, it's 10 to 8 already.
Isn't that nice? So I've been painting almost exclusively with this blue indigo. I mean, it feels like we made it ourselves, but all we really did is order the pigment and then
mixed with gum arabic.
Yeah, right.
And water.
But just that mixing part really felt special, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it's like whenever you have the chance, because you're still in control of the amount that you're putting in, the saturation.
Mm-hmm. I will admit that part of how I know how early on the cooking show was is I was still like sort of sneaking peeks at you thinking, who is this smoke show? And afraid to get caught looking at you.
You're really cute.
Yeah. Because I really blocked that at first. When I first met you, I was like very specific about not noticing that you were likable. I was kind of going through some stuff.
Weren't we
I did
all?
not need the
Distraction.
stress of. Well, I also really liked you as a friend.
Yeah.
And wouldn't have thought to add my own chaos to your life. It was like, I really thought it was nice having a friend that I wasn't romantically attracted to.
Scott K's here now. Hi, Scott K.
Hello, Scott. And so I don't know how I managed to block you out that way, but I just didn't see you that way at first.
I think that's very much survival.
Yeah.
It's not
And
something
then, but
bad.
around the time that we started dating, it was kind of like, yeah, maybe I just never even really looked at you. I was like shying away from you, I guess, which seems to have worked in my favor.
You
You're like, how come he's not paying attention to me? It wasn't like one of those like pickup line things where it's like pretending to be distracted. I was like literally just trying to survive.
Yeah.
And then when we started dating, I was like, I used to look at you. I still do all the time. But I remember back then, like, I couldn't believe you existed, let alone like me.
I do very much like you. Very much.
Well, it's because you're crazy.
Very much.
Yeah.
But like, well, the best ones are.
All right, are we going to talk about this election or what?
I feel like we could just carry on like nothing happened.
Well, stuff happened.
I know a lot of stuff happened. I was just being funny.
Oh, okay. I get you.
Hi, Kelly.
So, Jesse and I are hippies, so we voted for the Liberals. I was kind of shocked to find myself voting for a banker. And then I think we would have really been happy with a majority government. But we got a minority government. And I'm going to say, I was actually kind of surprised, sort of unpacking it the next day, that I was kind of pleased for the sake of the Conservatives that that we ended up with a minority government and that we ended up with a banker, who was a red Tory, and that I can't promise that Carney's not a crazy man, but I do have a tendency to trust him. And if I'm wrong about Carney, I think what's good is that there's such a huge Conservative opposition to keep him in line. If any of the bad stuff people said
like
about him
if he takes
is true.
his like Scooby-Doo mask off.
Yeah, and at no point was I ever willing to say, I bet my life on Mark Carney.
No, you said what I hear from him so far. I like.
Yeah, and that didn't go over well. But
but like
at the same time,
Ugh.
I don't listen to what people say. I listen to how they say it.
Yeah.
And I like to think of myself as the smartest Doberman St. Bernard in the world. And I can't say that I like the way Jeff P spoke. You know, there's a lack of kindness, a lack of empathy, a belligerence, and I work with angry teenage boys, right? So I'm actually quite glad to have a strong body of Conservatives to balance the Liberals, and I'm not hurt that who's our new friend? Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce.
Yeah. So I'm pretty happy with how things turned out, and I'm surprised.
It was actually an intriguing and interesting evening. Like we had the radio, the CBC going all night. Yeah. And it was really fun to go to school, and other teachers were like tired too. We had the CBC on all night.
Communist Broadcasting.
And it was that was like a nice thing to come together over.
I'm always like shocked when like Conservatives go on the CBC after they spent all that time talking about obliterating it.
Right. Did that guy ever get back to you? Like, how did he watch the coverage of the the election?
It was like everything was like, yeah, I do this and I do this.
Like, I hate it, but I'm gonna watch it.
Did Zach Abbott get the link? Do I need to send it to him separately? Is Zach Abbott joined us? Ding. Is that now? Is he with us? Is he hidden down there?
No.
See what I can do here.
And focus on that a little bit. Yeah, I think like what I was saying earlier, the idea of humanity is really important in this world right now.
Yeah.
And the idea of, like you said, if you really look at who is there and who's in charge, thinking about the compromises and the just the fact, I like actually teared up when he was speaking. So like you said, I have hope that there is someone who will talk to everyone and bring everyone together. I like really have hope for that, because I think like we always talk, everyone talks about the divisiveness, but it is only divisive if you are
us.
talking down to each other.
That's on you, and that's on me.
Yeah,
it's not. There isn't somebody else causing this problem
exactly.
about division.
It's us.
Divisiveness.
So I like.
You need to work on it. I need to work on it.
Like the post you made, actually, was it this morning or last night?
There's a lot of the same posts. Yeah.
No, but it was like, Dear Canada, like we say things that end up hurting each other. We don't even mean to. And we like all of these things are, and that's, I think, a human, like you said, a human thing. It's not just about our country or country people. It's like, even in a day-to-day situation, like people who really care about each other struggle with communication when I don't know, it's like, it's a huge thing. I hear what you're saying. And like you said, as writers, even, you just think it's easier for people who are writers or who are philosophers or thinkers, but it's never easy. Like, and so when you're facing people who have different values than you, it's gonna be even harder. But like, I think that's a good work to put in, and like worthwhile. I think that's worthwhile.
It's not the best picture to work from, but it's interesting. Okay. Here we go.
And away.
And a 1 and a 2 and a buckle my shoe. We have a new character too. You just barely see him in the last film, where the metaphor of Felix saying, maybe we don't need to keep fighting out here in the space. Maybe we go home and fight for Earth. And while we're having that fight, he's randomly fighting this green space monster, and green space monster's throwing rocks at them, and they're battling them away. And one of the rocks he throws is a human head. And we have a name for him. It's Dead Ed, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Dead Ed. We've got anybody in our universe named. There's Dead Kevin. And
everyone's dead.
Dead Ed. Well,
maybe it's because you never really go away when you die.
Right.
Just end up in someone's weird, absurdist short films.
Right. Oh, that's true. Maybe that's where we are right now.
That makes sense. That makes a lot more sense, actually, than other stuff.
All right, something else. Felix has been in, he was in Suzuki music lessons from like the age of 2 up till about 10 or 11, right? And then turned out he didn't like the violin. Nobody asked him. And he shifted from violin to piano, and then he kind of hated piano lessons for a while too, right? However, he will pick up any instrument and just instantly start tinkering on it. And then we were talking about the Star Wars concert in the car, and he broke into the symphony. But I was kind of blown away to the extent that he was singing all of the parts. You know what I mean? Like, he'd do the timpani, and he was doing a whole bunch of stuff all at once, and I was kind of blown away by that.
I think that's what happens when you do have experience with different backgrounds.
Yeah.
And like, to be honest, the Suzuki, it has good training in like the idea of like theory and like the bigger look at music, I guess.
Yeah. But I'm actually, I think we underestimate the how bright he is sometimes.
I think that, like I was saying, that's part of the Lost Hero X is like. I think that happens.
Yeah. There's a lot to get lost in this crazy world. We realized today that I knew from the start there needed to be a certain number of Gorilla House events, and we didn't reach that point because we got gentrified. And then beyond there, there was a point when I wanted to hit 250 Rumble House events, which seemed kind of unattainable. When we hit 250 Rumble House events, Paul Hughes gave me half of a $5 bill with the promise to give us the other half when we hit 500, and it said 250 on it. The problem is Paul went away to fight the Ukrainian-Russian war and left before we hit 500. So we hit 500 and did not get our other 250, or the other half of our $5 bill, which is nice. We'll get it one day when he comes home. But
which is nice.
I needed to hit a certain number of events at the Rumble House, and we surpassed it by 100. We got to 600, and my wildest dream was to be. I wanted to hit 250. We went past 250 and got to 200.
300?
Well, actually, we got up to 500, which was like my, again, part of my wildest dream. And then we made it. Once I got to 500, I was kind of like, well, I'm not looking at numbers anymore. So what am I looking at, right? Mm-hmm. And it was something. I knew I had some goals out there, but and I was saying today, like I'm kind of pinpointing the moments during the last months of Rumble, the last year and 2 months of Rumble, where I was like, where did I draw the line and say maybe we don't need to do this anymore? And that came down to the summer before we closed down. Georgia gave us $1,000. Maybe I shouldn't have said that online.
There's lots of people that are supporting us.
$1,000 to get through the summer. And I thought to myself, that's really sweet, but that's not why we started this. Mm-hmm. I didn't start this so that artists and retired school teachers could be giving us their savings to stay open. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people kind of said, oh, it's a shame that you didn't do this or that you did do that. And I was like, yeah, but when it got to the point where like it was being, the subsidy came from individuals that were artists, regardless of what their motives were. It wasn't what we started with, right?
Right.
Or we had to rethink it. Now, with the Isle of Roux, we're going to hit 20 pretty soon. Mm-hmm. And I realized I've proved what I set out to prove by doing this. And the difference between doing 20 of these and 40 of these is insignificant. The difference between doing 20 of these and 200 of these is insignificant. I'm not at any point trying to prove that I can get the Isle of Roux shot and in the can. The having something to prove part is succeeded. I'm happy. I'm not saying we're quitting today. I'm not saying we're quitting. I'm saying we have to pivot our intentions, because my current intention is to do this whether it matters or not, right? So where the first 20 of these was like, I want to see if I can get this done.
Mm-hmm. It's like
I want to see if I can make it work.
Yeah.
Somehow that shifted this week to it's almost funny to think that if we shut off the feedback and imagine nobody was watching, how long it would take to continue doing this without a response. Now, we like the response. We're happy with the response. We're getting good numbers and we're getting good responses. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting to me that if it became this kind of like bottled genie where we're doing this and we couldn't see what was happening outside of us, because that was, I think, initially the fear of the first 20 was that we're not going to have the room full of people to interact with anymore. We do get good evidence that I think around 8,000 people a week are watching us.
Yeah, and we have great interactions the evening of with the people.
We do, but I had this idea that it would be interesting to get no feedback and to continue doing this. Kind of like
talking about the VOA.
The VOA and how Willis Conover was like producing these shows for people in Russia, and he wouldn't know whether they could hear him or not. You know, he wouldn't know
if they were alive or like.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I'm not saying I want to close off those lines of communication, but I really want to experiment with just doing this weird thing so that somebody in the future can find it and go like, can you believe they have 300 episodes of the Isle of Roux? Couldn't they gotten away with 200 episodes? That's kind of what intrigues me right now is that there's a real weird sort of like impending futility and lack of obsession to have to achieve anything with what we're doing here. And I'm kind of tempted to try and magnify that because everything was so measurable and we had to be so accountable with the Rumble House. It'd be really fun to just do this blind to the effectiveness of it. And that said, I still don't really know what I'm trying to say, but it has something to do with where we're headed, and it's got a lot to do with like, and we're not going to stop. And probably most people wouldn't notice any kind of a change, but I'm just kind of intrigued on like what we're doing for the first time in a while. I don't really know what we're doing anymore, and I'm kind of cool with that, but I'm battling.
No, it's interesting because you have a feeling where you're like getting at it.
Who do I have with us that was interested? Oh, is it Chris isn't still with us, is he?
Yeah, very well, could be.
Galen will be of good help right now.
Oh, Chris is here.
Chris, help me out here. I'm trying to remember what kind of device pulled the layers of helmet off of Darth Vader. And I'm not painting like the Darth Vader we knew. I'm trying to paint like a mid Darth Vader who's kind of maybe like halfway between episode 6 and episode 1 or 4. Sorry. 4, 6, 7, and 4. Like somewhere in his midlife crisis, Darth Vader. He's kind of halfway to the Darth Vader we meet in the Star Wars opening film. Episode 4.
Oh, thanks, Thomas. I'm seeing different comments on this as we are on there. So
what does it say on there?
Thomas is here and he says,
which Thomas?
Thomas.
Oh, he's on Instagram.
Or my Facebook. I don't know. You guys are incredible as a couple, very inspiring, truly work insanely well and very fluidly. That's very nice of you to say.
Well, that's because we're online. Right? I get in trouble for this sometimes because I try and tell people just absolutely real we are and how, you know, like everybody's farts stink. No, not Jessica's.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do. Worse sometimes.
I have bad tummy.
Yeah. But it is funny trying to like, first of all, maintain our own sanity, and second of all,
I think that's part of it though, is like I think everyone knows that they like know how life is, and then I think that's the
what device pulled Darth Vader's helmet off? Was it like a big suction sucker?
I
Chris, send me a photo. 403-629-7424. Well, okay, so this is like my own imagination. It's during a time frame that's kind of between. No, I want to see kind of what they had envisioned. Helmet or moving machine. What was it called? Broken helmet. You're a broken helmet. Was it a helmet bath?
Bath.
Whoa. Guess what?
What?
Safe search wasn't on.
Just gonna keep sewing. I'm working on a flag for the Isle of Roux
Aren't you?
because I was saying to the people when I was spending time before, I said we had a flag, a banner, everything for Girl House, and then we had a banner for our tent for Isle of Roux. No, Rumble House, and now I'm doing a flag for the Isle of Roux.
It's funny because it's the first thing that came up when I looked for this. And I was like, oh, yeah, I know what that looks like. And then I just wasn't looking hard enough at what pulled his helmet off. There we go. I got it. You know what? No, I don't. Why are you laughing?
You're cute.
You're a monster.
You're cute.
Sorry.
You're cute. I'm cute.
I had 2 weird strength bursts this week. I'm going to talk about them online because I think it's important. But we were at the Jube, and you were walking up the steps, and I was kind of stuck between you and Felix, losing one of you. And I just tugged on your scarf to let you know, hey, slow down a bit. And you came flying off the steps, and then I caught you. And everybody looked at me like, did that guy just throw his wife down the steps? I did not. I swear to God, I did not. I just tugged lightly.
Vader had that black hexagonal chamber that I think he traveled with. It has droid arms that would remove very parts of the
Like, I'm picturing fingers, but I also kind of remember a vacuum magnet sucker. Can you help me find a picture of his helmet remover pinchers?
Me or Chris?
Chris. I'm painting this for Chris.
Sorry.
Hope you like it. So yeah, I tugged on the back of your
jacket or whatever.
No, it was like I found it. Tugged on the back of the jacket to just to gain your attention, but then you came flying down the steps and I had to catch you, which was like
I'm not flying.
I'm exaggerating a bit. And then also while we're shooting, I just tapped Felix on the shoulder to say, hey, you need to raise your voice for the sake of the microphone. And then like he got kind of emotional. I was like, I can't shoot this scene right now. I was like, wow, what are you talking about? Like, what's going on? And I wasn't mad or anything. I was just like, dude, what's going on? Like where did this come from? And he's like, said I finger punched him. I was like, is that a thing? And
he started kind of giggling too, because he was
sure. But like I was kind of like, where did this idea that first of all, I didn't know that just giving a tap on the shoulder would hurt. So, and he understood that. Like he wasn't mad like I like calling social services or anything, but he was like, it was like a strength boost where I hadn't anticipated like my fingers getting stronger than they were. And I had to, and then the funny thing is, it turns out that Felix's sister gave him a thump that week. And when he gave her a poke, just a finger poke, he had a strength boost and ended up like making her feelings hurt because he poked her too hard. And so like he had, maybe that was part of the stress is that he'd just gone through the same thing at home. But I would have, when I was a kid, like little strength boosts where suddenly my body was twice as strong in the spring. And one day I leaned on the window and the whole window just broke from the heat of my hand, and my dad was so mad. And then the same week, I was coming down the steps, and I pulled the handrail off the
Oh, that's when you
staircase.
would always break stuff at Mark's house, actually. Because in the spring, when we started to have fireplaces again, you'd sit down and like break something.
I was absolutely terrified to hold my children when they're small because I thought one of their heads would pop off, and that might sound like boasting. Like, oh, I'm so strong.
No,
but it's not
I
like
think
that at all.
everyone has. Like, I think that's a pretty empathetic thing to say. Like,
it was always really scary. And then I'd have these little strength boosts where like you got to reach for something and it just crumbles in your hand. And I do think Felix is going through that, one of those body changes as well.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, it does happen. I didn't remember that about spring, but I did realize that all the times that happened to me before was consistently in the spring. Maybe I'm a little more active. And the very underrated Rogue One. Yeah, I loved Rogue One. Is it underrated? Stuff I don't know. I don't know a lot of stuff when it comes to pop culture. I'll tell you something funny. I was working at CyberSurf when The Matrix came out, and for some reason I thought it sucked. Now, the reason I think I thought it sucked was it was so good that everybody loved it so much that then there was a backlash of people that said, no, it sucked. And actually, I had this conversation with my kids at school. I'm like, how many of you like the Beatles? And none of their hands went up. I'm like, okay, how many of you like music? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, you don't get to like music and say the Beatles suck. Okay? Like, you don't have to like the Beatles, but you do have to kind of consider that everyone else that you like on their list of influences, it includes the Beatles, right? So if you like Bruno Mars and you look up Bruno Mars's YouTube page or Instagram page, you're going to see that Bruno Mars references the Beatles as one of his, what's that?
Chris said maybe it was lost in the crowd.
What does that mean?
Like maybe the crowd of all of the films. Because there's so many Star Wars films, maybe it's quieter one.
Oh, so yeah, and I was watching those films kind of offbeat and by myself because by the time the rest of the Star Wars films came out, I was more pacing them that I could see them with my kids. And then I took a big break from the Star Wars films because I was waiting for Felix to catch up. And then we decided to go to Disneyland, and Kevin gave us a list of movies we needed to watch before we could go, or else we wouldn't understand the rides properly. Chris, this is for you. Do you like it? I hope you like it. Also, do we have Chris's address? Are we already sending Chris something?
We have actually. We'll have a good package to send to Chris.
We got a package to fly. We got a package to fly. Is Chris far enough away that we're going to fly him mail, or is it going in a truck?
Going in a truck. We could.
It's super
we could
weird.
probably just
mailing
drive
stuff
it to his house.
Nah. I like stuff getting mailed inside the city.
It's
We didn't check our mailbox today. We only
We were
shot
late,
one
so-
film. Oh, you need 2 hands for that.
Yeah,
No, it's going to drip. See? You did that.
I know.
Yeah. Here.
No, stop. Just considering life. Hey, Jude.
I saw you new. Don't try and fake it. I saw you naked. Did you guys sing that when you were kids?
No.
You sang Batman for
Yeah.
Jingle Bells, Batman Spells?
Yeah.
I'm just realizing what a creepy song that is.
Chris says it's awesome.
Oh, thank you. We're going to go to Disneyland in 2 months. We are bad people because we're going to America.
That's fine.
However, I don't hate Americans. And you know what? I'm a bleeding heart, what do they call us again? Libtard.
Pinko.
But Pinko, commie. But I don't hate conservatives either. I love everybody. And so when we were trying to talk our way through this, like, are we really going to go to America at a time when everybody else isn't? We are. And we're going to buy Canadian food when we're there. and we're going to drive to a different city and go to a different art museum every single day. And we're going to be ambassadors of Canada. And we're also going to broadcast our trip to those of you that aren't spending money in America this year. So we can all go to America a little bit with the Tayrus. Or you could cancel culture us and stay home. Wouldn't be the first time.
I don't think that's really.
When we ran the gallery, cancel culture was such a dangerous thing for us because it's like if we had like 604 Wednesdays for me to stick my foot in my mouth.
But you, like, we run a space where you're always trying to come from a place of love. So the idea of cancel culture is not a negative thing either because it keeps you accountable.
Did I say it was?
Sure no, but it's like you're saying you're afraid of it all the time. It's like, no. Like, because you...
Can I finish?
Yeah, but you run yourself with like dignity all the time. So I'm saying...
For 604... And I also stick my foot in my mouth all the time. For 604 Wednesdays, I had to not get canceled because we had to pay the rent. And now that we're kind of free to get canceled, it's kind of interesting that part of me wants to push the envelope a little bit and shake that tree because, if somebody deletes me, well, then it doesn't change my life, right? I, for the first time in a long time, deleted people that were pissing me off during the election, and I skimmed about 20 people off of my social media. And I'm told I'm not allowed to do that, but I did. And also, I want to say this. I haven't really partaken in Canada Day for a good 15 years. I think around the time I started becoming aware of not all Canadians have clean drinking water.
Still don't.
I found it very difficult to celebrate Canada Day. This year, I will not be celebrating a broken Canada. I will be celebrating the beginning stages of really turning this place into a place that's worth fighting for. So I'm going to wear a Canada t-shirt on Canada Day. It's probably the only difference. I purposely didn't wear red on Canada Day. But I'm going to actively be cognizant and celebrate Canada Day. And I'm going to celebrate that this is like year one of everybody doing way better. Does that make sense?
That's nice.
Last year, I didn't want to celebrate Canada Day because I figured until everybody has clean water.
Yeah, like maybe that could be a goal. Everybody gets clean water.
Yeah.
And maybe because they're like that idea of working for everybody, maybe that would be something.
Well, and that goes back to, I think, maybe one of the benefits of having a minority government means that Mark Carney's going to have to work really hard to please everyone. Not some of the people, but all the people.
Like Rich Teru. Yeah, everybody has to be happy all the time.
Like, you can't make people happy all the time. Like, we're gonna
try
as much as we can. Yeah. And then when I die, I'll have spent my entire life trying to make everybody happy all the time.
That's what I meant. I didn't mean to cut you off before, but I think you're
okay. You were going to say I'm doing way better than I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Came out a little aggressive.
Sorry, because I
but at the same time, you have to give me space to fail and grow.
And also finish your sentences.
That I'm not so worked up about. Actually, in those reels that pop up, there was this must have been like one of those dating shows. Maybe it was like The Bachelor or something. And this lady's trying to explain something, and then this guy's trying to explain why he's like ending her time on the program. And then she's like says something, and he cuts her. And he has a tantrum like, "Oh, will you stop cutting me off?" And I thought, what kind of privileged life has this guy lived that he's so offended that somebody joined the conversation, which is ironic for me to say. But also, I thought, why would all these people be? Do they get stuck? They have to pretend they're interested in The Bachelor because they're on the show, or are they actually like competing and like stuck? Oh, I had a good idea for a drawing and I forgot it. Maybe I'll take myself off the screen while I'm seeking for an idea. We can both be here together. There's you and me. Oh man, if I was actually in the audience and watching the show because I wanted to see Rich's face, it's only like a corner of my eye the whole time. So thank God that you are so much more beautiful than me, because I don't ever feel guilty about having my ear showing while you're smiling on camera. I do think it's important we look there.
I am.
Because you were the most important person in the world.
You matter, and you're beautiful, and you're doing a good job.
I learned this from Mr. Rogers and Mr. Dressup. You are the most important person in the world, and we are here for you and you alone. And you and you, and you. Poker room. Romper room? Pokeroo.
Pokeroo.
Romper room?
Maybe in the romper room, pokeroo.
Imagine, you can imagine Pokeroo flying around. Could Pokeroo fly?
I really missed that.
I might have that song wrong.
No, I don't think you do.
Here's a funny thing. Are you ready for this? You always look beautiful. I'm often mortified at this old guy sitting next to you in the on the live stream, and then the next day when the broadcast goes live and I see it separate from the live feed, I'm always like, oh, I'm not as ugly as I thought. And so it's funny how like your self-image changes, and part of it might be the flip screen. But I'm always stressed out looking at like, oh man, like I got to do something about that old guy on the left, and then the next day I'm like, it's not as bad as I remembered.
You're beautiful.
Oh, I wish I hadn't said that to you. I'm being a sucky baby.
This is Rich, and he wears his heart on his sleeve and his thoughts in his.
I actually promised myself tonight we wouldn't have to work that hard. We were like, we're gonna allow a few cracks in that marble tonight.
We're doing a good job.
I have had like 5 good ideas and they keep slipping away. Do we have an art history book somewhere?
Yeah.
I'm kind of in the mood to paint some marble.
Underneath the printer.
What I was looking over there.
Oh.
And there.
You can go get whatever you want.
I
There's
gotta
A
get
to
around
Z
you.
of art. Sorry, I'm like trying to hold a bunch of
Fine.
stuff together.
I actually was imagining we're closer to the back screen.
There's lots of space.
What are these? Oh, saucy minks. Why did I rip those out?
Because you like.
Oh, that's fine. I put the drawings down and I got a little bit of ink on them, but I did not smudge as of yet.
Careful.
What? No, I didn't. Oh, yeah, I did. No, I didn't.
No, you didn't. I'm just saying careful.
Okay. This is what I do also when I'm out of ideas.
The obelisk?
Yeah. What happened in the last second or so that your elbows got really up in my face?
Well, I'm trying to get
Did
a
you move
different
over here?
angle. No, I can move over here.
You want to be on screen?
What?
Do you want your work on screen?
No, it's hard to hold it. I'm just trying to get the right angle.
Okay.
I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just.
No, I just when I got back, I was like, I'm back in the danger zone.
Yeah, because I'm doing it different. I'm trying to stitch this H.
My husband's eyeball.
No eyeballs.
Oh, I just put my ink in my ink in my drinking water.
Ink in my drink. What the ever-living Christ? What?
Nothing. It's just, like those movie stars that like would fire people from the sets because they got in their eye line.
No.
No.
I didn't know that.
Like if you're a gaffer in your film and then you like the actor's trying to act and then you catch their eye and they're like, have that one removed from my set.
That's why I'm not in movie making.
No, because you would have your elbows up in their face and you'd be stitching something while they're trying to
Be like, God damn it, Taylor, get out of here with that.
get your elbows away from me.
Like in the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and she says, "Get your shit and get out."
What was that?
When Brad Pitt threw Bruce Lee into the car, and then she's like,
Oh yeah,
"Get your shit."
Zoe, I think her name is.
Oh, she's just in charge of the extras.
She might be like a Madonna. She just has one name.
I don't know.
She was in. She's like a stunt lady.
She's actually a stunt lady?
Okay, so she, breaking the fourth wall, was the stunt lady in the film that was when they're driving around in Death Proof.
Are you kidding me?
I think I know what I'm talking about. And then the other thing I think is she might have been, it would make sense if she was the stunt lady in Kill Bill. No, yeah, in Kill Bill. That would make a lot of sense.
Like one of the stunt ladies.
Can you please just give me a little bit of space?
I'm not.
I love you, but try this. Just turn your body back this way. Come closer this way. See how close you are? And put this here.
Like, but I need the table to rest it on.
I know.
You said to put the stuff on the table. Just reminding you.
Yeah.
You said put your stuff up here.
I did.
So. There.
I was like reluctant to go over there and get my own book because I figured you'd move into this bubble. And when I came back,
I didn't even move, and it's on screen, so you can play it back later.
I will, and then I'll be right, and then you'll be, oh, I guess you're right, and then it'll be too late to gloat.
I didn't move. I was actually not moving because that's why I said you.
Okay, listen. All I'm saying is like if you could adjust a bit so that the needles and the elbows aren't like part of my drawing. And I'm not really worried about getting poked by the. No, oh come on.
But I need Kate. There's a
I'm
thing.
gonna move over here.
No, Rich.
Look at.
Rich.
I'm not fighting with you. I'm moving over here.
I'm not. Oh my god.
Face the camera.
They can't see what I'm working on, anyways, my love. It's like I don't know how to explain. This is like an awkward thing because this is like a whole flag and it's weighted. Yeah. So I'm trying to hold it, and then I'm also trying.
Listen. I am sorry, and I'm way over here. Can you fit yourself onto the camera?
No. I'm like, I finally have it set up again that I'm balanced.
You're so far away.
No, my elbow is still closed. Is this awkward silence, or are you just focused?
I'm trying to paint because I've got my my screen is on the painting because that's what's interesting about me.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm sitting here and I'm looking at that green screen right there. Look at.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for you to come back and join us.
But
I'm also trying not to look like I complain too much. So the dead screen is like looking at the back of your head and your ear. Mm-hmm. And also feeling like I'm a monster for asking you to look at.
What? All I see is Jessica. On the topic of having a hard time even when you're with someone you love and you're trying to just make art together.
Well, I'm not trying to make art. I'm trying to put on a broadcast, which is like maybe a different motivation, right? And then it could be maybe like next week we have a conversation about this and go, you know what we're going to do this week is Jess is going to do the artwork in front of the camera, like here.
Or I could paint and I'll try and I'll maybe if we're stuck.
No, I'm not saying you can't make art. What I'm saying is
painting is
that we're just splitting the task. And
but do you know what I mean? Like painting is maybe more conducive to our space. That's all. Is what I'm saying.
I do find when you're stitching, like it's super stressful to be near the elbows and the pins.
See, I don't want that.
But
I'm not trying to be different.
I probably should have just told you about that.
But, well, like, you did tell me. I know what you're saying. But, like, I am trying to hear.
I don't want to. No, listen. It's more important that you're making art that matters to you than that we're doing this broadcast. 100%. Right? I'm just saying, like, if we're going to be broadcasting and expecting people to come and join us, one of us has to be interesting. And for sure, I'm used to that being you. All I got to do is draw.
Can I tell you that your art making is what draws people?
Well, that's why sometimes I feel like if I'm going to be sitting here drawing,
You don't want to be in attack mode all the time.
Well, and I'd also
Like
kind
be
of,
attacked. I mean, you don't want to be being attacked.
I also just think that like my job here is I'm watching the camera, trying to keep this entertaining. And then sometimes I have to remind you like where we are, and then I feel like I look like a monster. And I think there's like, when it was really bad was when we were doing the online broadcasts for COVID, and we were watching that documentary where like Paul McCartney's like, I don't want to be the bad guy here, and everybody's like, and he's like, somebody needs to get us recording this album. And then he's back to, I don't want to be the bad guy. And I could really empathize with him because he was really fighting
He was
to
trying
make
to think of it.
that film work.
Yeah.
And maybe George Harrison was feeling a little wounded about some other stuff, and John Lennon was being a bit of a prankster, and Ringo was just like, I wish my friends would get along. And but I empathize with watching that with like the weight of it being on Paul McCartney's hand to try and keep the production going.
Mm-hmm.
And like, no, 100%, like it's way more important that you feel comfortable making art than that, people watching this can see your face or whatever. But it's also like, I would need a better face to replace your face because you've got the good face and I can draw.
But people, look how beautiful. Oh, that's a nice feather duster.
Maybe, can I point out something kind of funny?
Sure.
And you won't get mad? Yes or no?
I won't get mad.
When I look up at the screen, I'm seeing like your ear on the top of your head.
Mm-hmm.
And then I point that out to you and you look up at the screen, you go, look, I'm right there. And then you put your head back down. It's like every time you look up at the screen, you're just there smiling at the people. But then 2 seconds later, you're not seeing your head back down buried in the work.
I think it's important for people to see people making art.
Well, then we should have 2 cameras out on the artwork.
Look, I did a cloud and
Let's trade spots and you do here. And I'll...
I'm really happy with we're working on like really big weavings using old broken hula hoops with my grade
and
sixes.
some new hula hoops.
And some new, but most of them are broken.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really cool.
Wait,
shapes.
new broken ones?
No.
Yeah.
Like broken ones. And then there's like every kind of kid just asking to do the weavings, even on like little plates and stuff, and they're making like little baskets. And I like I'm trying my best to do a good job of like thanking them for their curiosity and their like openness to trying new materials and new processes, because it's like that's been really fun.
I have a story like that. I took my science kids outside.
Yeah.
And something I noticed, I keep calling the dissection microscopes. And Travis his voice tightens up every time I say microscopes. And he goes, you mean dissection microscopes? And I'm like, sure. And, did they make small things big? And so we've had 2 days with the dissection microscopes, which aren't like compound microscopes where you have like artwork going from, images going from, like into the black and white mode. The color isn't even being reported yet. You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's like things are twice as big. It's 2 times zoom. And so
that ant was pretty big.
Right. So on Monday we went outside. Is it Wednesday?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe on Tuesday we went outside and looked at bugs in the playground. Today, did I even tell you what we did today?
No.
We went across the street to the slough.
Oh, fun.
And we looked at bugs, and the kids found lots of cool stuff. And I met like 4 new families, because all the people that walked by with their dogs kind of walked by a little bit maybe irritated that we're on their path. Like, why are there people on my path? I just wanted to walk my dog. It's my day off kind of thing. And every person that walked by, I said, do you want to see some bugs? And they're like, are you looking through microscopes? And I was like, oh, we are. And so the kids made way and allowed the strangers that walked by that were walking their pets to look through the microscopes, which actually like it takes a lot of time to find something interesting and set it up.
Mm-hmm.
And so the kids were so gracious and so excited about sharing.
That's
And
sweet.
all of the adults that walked by, one was jogging. She kind of looked at us and maybe her frumped a bit. And I go, "You want to look at some bugs?" She's like, "Yeah."
Cute.
All the adults that went by and one family that were walking their dog stopped and were like totally engrossed with like, and man, that's the problem with like buying a microscope is like you kind of have fun for about 1.5 experiences with it. Like at first it was fun. I was like, we're gonna go inside before the bell rings because we're gonna run out of fun soon.
Yeah.
And then today we did run out of fun. It got to the point where it was like more fun for us to share the bugs with strangers than it was to actually see the bugs.
But that's a nice thing too, because then you're learning like a real life experience of sharing that learning.
No, but like you have to be in a school situation where somebody else bought the microscopes. Because if I bought a microscope for Felix to play with,
Mm-hmm.
and we came home and we tried it out, and it, like our metal detector was like a freaking blast for 2 outings, and on the 3rd outing, it's kind of like.
Right.
This is just taking up space, right? And I think I bought in my lifetime probably 4 telescopes because I'm always buying telescopes, taking a look at the
Moon,
and then putting it away, and then realizing I haven't used it in years, and then giving it away or selling it, and then coming back to a situation where I'm like buying another telescope and then getting bored of it really quickly. And so the microscopes, kind of like the ones we bought at home too, like Felix and I had a blast with that microscope for the first day or so.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just kind of ended up being like little goofy things that we had in the house to play with. So now they just take up space in the junk drawer. We have 8 people with us, which is amazing because we were a little grumpy with each other. And I wonder if people like it. I wonder if we need to be like more Regis and Kathy Lee and be like, kind of like, har, 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 sarcasm.
I don't know. I think people
I'd have
like
to learn how to use
authenticity.
I'd have to learn how to use sarcasm. Kevin is extra sarcastic because a big play is coming up. So I've been kind of avoiding him a bit. Not dead Kevin, but live Kevin.
Good old live Kevin.
We will be taking Kevin to Disneyland
Live Kevin.
with us in about 2 months. We're going to stop in Pocatello and go to the strangest little natural history museum. And then we're going to go to Provo and go to a world-class natural history museum. We should get into Vegas in time to go see maybe that night we can go see the because our times have shifted. We might be able to go see the Neon Light Museum that evening.
Well, we're going to go to Baker, I think, too. So.
Yeah, but Baker's
That's
just for lunch. Just for lunch. But we can't go to we can't go to the Sign Museum in the morning because it's a nighttime thing. But it occurred to me, I think we had like a plan, and kind of like you have this plan, you write off some ideas, the plan changes, and you forget about your initial ideas. And I don't know why I came up with this idea a few times before I realized, actually, I do think we could go in the evening the same day, but we're going to end up seeing 3 museums in one day, right? We're going to see the weird one in Pocatello. We're going to see the fancy one in Provo, and then we might see a nighttime neon light museum in Vegas.
Oh my gosh, Andrew Sabo said take Dead Kevin to the Haunted Mansion.
Okay, how's that going to work? I'm not saying no. I'm just saying like how. I don't think we can get Dead Kevin into Disneyland, but I have not considered bringing Dead Kevin on the trip. There are some concerns we have about, are we going to be able to cross borders safely? Having Dead Kevin in the car might complicate issues. Couldn't be worse than taking Oliver on a road trip, because he used to do things like tie himself up in the back of the van as we're crossing the border. So yes and no. I like the idea of Dead Kevin coming on some capacity. It might just be his head, or we might bring...
That might be weirder.
Dead Ed.
Is my hands turning black from this fabric?
Yeah.
Let's see.
I mean, there's worse things.
Look at that blunt force trauma.
Mm-hmm.
That's a solid hit.
Where? Oh, yeah. I thought he held up quite well, considering the...
No, he totally did. Yeah. Totally did.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, I think Banksy has more support than I do. Banksy could get away with murder. It wasn't until the election that I think I got a handle on the pronunciation of the conservative.
Qualia.
Yeah.
And then he got voted out. That's so funny.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I'd heard so many different interpretations of the pronunciation, and I got used to a wrong one. And it was kind of weird getting to that point where I was like starting to see a pattern of how to say his name. And yeah, the timing was weird. I can't remember which one's my drinking water, so just gonna hope there's nothing toxic in this blue
Indigo. Can I give you fresh water?
I'll drink whichever. That one's pretty blue.
That was what you're drinking.
Both pretty blue.
Here.
Yeah, this will be my painting water, and I got it. Could you do me a favor and just kind of situate yourself, maybe even a bit closer, and get your artwork on screen? And I will fit myself in wherever isn't left. Because we can totally set 2 cameras up facing down as well. We could also go with 3 cameras, where there's like kind of an inconsequential camera that goes between us, and then both cameras down on our hands. Would that work better?
Maybe, because I do like making art.
Yeah. There's no point in doing this if you don't feel comfortable making the art. That's like first whatever. Right? And it used to be like, oh, you have to be attentive to the audience or we'll lose our audience. And I was just saying how it'd be neat if we didn't care. I mean, I'm sorry, we do care. We care so much about you. You are the most important person in the world. But it would be neat if we were able to sort of like loosen up and not have to perform in any way.
Yeah, they know what you mean.
But what should I do now? I also have I think I have 100 paintings since we started. How many do I actually have? I did 1, 2, 3,
You've been making like 6 a night.
Oh, 6 to 10 a night, and we've been doing so. And there's 20 nights. I might have 200 paintings.
No, because it's like it's really funny. Those styrofoam heads are like, it's really, just like, it's really funny.
It looks so animated, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, give me an idea to paint. Anything.
Tomorrow is Beltane.
What's Beltane mean again?
It is the halfway point between. It's May Day. It's like the halfway point between. I'm
asking a different question.
Like,
what did it mean? Like, was there like a volcano and they threw somebody in, or like what?
It is a fire festival, and it's like the coming back of the spring, and definitely bonfires and people dancing around. Yeah, this
Who's that?
This fabric, the black side is dyeing the white part.
Is that?
I don't think I just said a Google login.
Oh, that's weird. Did we log in?
Did you?
Maybe by accident. Maybe I did. There are 9 people with us. Sometimes that's a lot more.
Right, because if that's 9 households. There has been a lot more people today. Maybe people are kind of back home. Like, there's spring break and people are away and doing stuff. No.
Yeah.
And depending on weather and hockey.
Is it kind of cold out tonight?
Yeah, maybe.
I do remember, and I forgot about this, how stressful it was to run the gallery during the playoffs. Because, like, we would go from, like, packed house one week to
empty.
Nobody showed up. That's not true. We never had a nobody showed up. No. But sometimes, like, I remember there was near the end, during the hockey season, there were sometimes like 4 people at the auction, which there might have been 100 people at home, but we couldn't see them. And they're logging in and bidding and getting us through the evening. But it was super scary only seeing 4 people in the building.
Yeah.
And sometimes there'd be like, 20 or 30 people there all evening. And then at auction time, they're like, okay, we're going home. And they'd all go home. And that's fine. You're allowed to go home. You're not expected to stay and buy things. But it'd be like, wait, where did everybody go? And there'd be this weird, like, kind of like terrifying moment where it's like, are we by ourselves?
All worked out.
Come to think of it, there was also, during all that time, a weird thing where we'd start at like 7:30, and I would get super grumpy if people showed up early, but I'd also get super tense if there was like 7 and nobody showed up. So I wanted things to go my way perfectly all the time. I wanted literally the place to be empty until 6:59, and then I wanted all the people to come in and be there for the opening part. And that's actually a lot of times how it would work, right? Like when things are going really well, there would often be like this empty space. Where is everybody? We're not going to make rent this month. And then all of a sudden, everybody would come through the door at the same time. That was super awesome. I really liked that. But then at the same time, I think after COVID, it got harder for us to shift gears from like trying to carry the weight and also at the same time trying to be present and ready. Do you remember which one I'm drinking from? This one, right?
The silver one.
Gotcha. Okay. Can I acknowledge what an amazing job you are doing, looking up and smiling at the camera every now and then? No, I saw you do it. I don't do sarcasm. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm telling you, like I am. That was like a good moment where I looked up and I saw your beautiful face, and I was, look at there you are.
I really love you.
I love you too. It's super handy for us because if Jess and I ever do have disagreements, it's often on video. We go back and we watch the video and decide who was being difficult.
Yeah, handy. It's always me.
I don't think anybody would agree with that.
I'm difficult.
I don't think anybody would
I'm
say.
emotional and difficult. I'm just kidding.
Wait, which one of us is emotional? Have we ever had that conversation before?
Oh, me.
Are you?
sure.
Are you the emotional one?
Ooh, out of the two of us.
What do we mean by that?
Right. Like huge fluctuations in
No, we're both like
manic, depressive. Oh, okay.
I don't get depressed.
Yeah.
I don't have the. I don't.
Not
get
as
depressed.
often as I do, but
I get different. I get like rage.
true.
I don't have like depression.
But that's still an emotion. You're right. We've never talked.
I think because we have such different kinds of emotions that we trade off. And
That's
actually,
right.
we're pretty good at like when I'm hitting rock bottom and ready to like give everything in, you're like, no, everything's fine. It's like, wow, when did you get so reasonable? And then when you're hitting rock bottom, I'm like, no, this is most of the time. Then I got to be like, no, let's be more positive. Like,
maybe we're not looking at this right.
yeah, if you haven't driven rush hour with Jesse in traffic, you don't really know the true joy of being around her because you have all kinds of things to say.
I'm way better now.
Yeah, better than what?
Than when I was younger.
Right. And it really comes down to
all you had to say was, where would you rather be? And I wrote that on my arm incessantly.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, you're right. I am in traffic, but I'm with you.
Right. I appreciate that.
It would suck if we were in traffic separately.
Or if we didn't.
That would make me feel awful.
Right. And actually, I think I face a lot more of that because I drive from Cochrane back to Calgary. And by the time you get in the car, my fight is over and your fight's just beginning. So you're just getting into the car at the same moment that I'm like, kind of like, oh, I made it. Like spring for me. I see a green leaf and I'm like, I can't believe I survived another winter. I can't believe we're here.
Right.
And for you, I think it's more like, well, with the car, you're waiting for me to get there, which I admit takes a long time because I got to come all the way from Cochrane. But then when I get there, you take over the driving for me, and that's a different battle as well, right? Like I'm kind of chilling out and relaxing, kind of checking the emails while you're
getting us sauces.
Yeah, and swearing at everybody else on the road.
No. I don't think so. We could put a camera in our car too.
Wait.
In the morning, I think I'm more frustrated than at night.
With the other drivers.
Yeah. Like in the morning, because I'm stressed about going to school. After school, I think I'm very tired. So in the morning, I would actually say I would agree that I'm more short-tempered.
Right.
With the drivers.
And usually you're pretty good because I'll say, none of the people you're swearing at can hear you. But I sure can. And I'm just trying to get through my own day right now. Yeah. And then you almost always like stop. If I'm swearing at another driver, it's because I want them to get out of the car and talk about their feelings. Like, let's do this right now, Mr. Fancy Pants. Which I'm way better at. I haven't done that in years, I don't think. Get out of the car and we'll talk about your feelings.
I think we're growing as people.
Yeah.
Look at us growing as people. I think too, with like experience of life, different things start mattering or stop mattering.
Right. What was your biggest life shift? Things started mattering differently in your life. Do you have one?
Oh, I have thousands.
Oh, that's a good point. I'll tell you something that was for me.
Yeah.
And I can't remember why I was talking about this recently, but I know that I was.
Okay.
I really shifted from sometimes inclusion meant tolerance, and sometimes inclusion meant acceptance. Sometimes inclusion meant like joyfully awaiting the company, right? Now, we opened up Gorilla House with the intention of everybody being welcome. And I do remember when Guy came in the first time, everybody's like, "What are you doing with this guy?" And Guy was just like, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, "Nah, man, like he's the only one helping clean up." Like I immediately liked Guy.
Yeah.
But
Hopefully you're
people were really, really getting frustrated with me for Guy being there on the first night. And so I go by instinct.
Mm-hmm.
I had no bad instincts about Guy, and maybe I should have because he did end up on Canada's Most Wanted list. But and that might even just be a funny story he told us because he was one of those guys. But I instantly kind of trusted and liked Guy. There was a number of people that night that didn't want Guy there, and the people that I remember there was a couple people there that didn't have homes. And the patrons who were paying for things and spending a lot of money there were like wanting me to classy the place up, right? Like, what if we did this, but it was with cocktails and everybody had to wear
and pay money to get in?
Yeah, and that might keep out the riffraff. I'm like, but you don't understand. I am the riffraff.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so with tolerance, I think initially we always strive to make everybody feel welcome. One of the biggest shifts in my life was when COVID hit, and I realized, okay, guess what? There is a world full of survivors here, and they're not the people I thought they'd be, right? The people that really were thriving and getting by and looking to be the kind of people you want to tag your sales to during COVID were the people that had been struggling the hardest before, and just instantly you see like the adaptability and the survival skills of the people that were struggling to make ends meet. And I mean by like, living out of dumpsters and dumpster diving, and the street folk suddenly became some of the most important people in the world at that moment that we had to face, like, what's coming next and where are we? And I mean, there's also, okay, I'm not going to say his name, but there was one that moment where one of our friends that kind of had those struggles came to the door and out of politeness didn't want to come in. And then I'm like, why are you being so weird? And then he told me he had bed bug infection and he didn't want to get bed bugs in the place. I'm like, dude, that's a thing? Like, what do we, like, why are you here if that's a thing? Like, and I didn't know that was a thing, and it kind of waked me out. But there was a lot of that, like, we didn't like advertise it on the website, come by and get lice, and we never got lice. I didn't get lice. But I mean,
I didn't either. Why'd you say it like that?
It was an issue that you have to be careful of all the time. There was a cleanliness issue. When you have people that aren't necessarily set up with homes, there was 100% people with lice in that gallery. Not every night, but often enough that
well, if you're thinking about like that, like we're at school with hundreds of kids.
People at school don't come up to you and ask for a hug, right?
Little ones.
And there was a lot
yours don't, but mine.
No, but there's a lot of people that expected hugs at Rumble House. They had like this kind of like.
That was a big shift. I was able to say no to people because like I used to not be able to say no to hugs, and that was something I learned at Rumble House. Is like it's totally okay to have physical boundaries. And
was the hugging with Rumble House kind of crossed over with like that kind of electric music? Watch.
The thing with you, sorry, maybe I shouldn't say this. My ugly is coming out.
What?
Where you have to hug for like 5 minutes to make it be a hug.
Well, that was the community.
That was
the community I was going to talk about. It's like
I don't know if it's electronic music. It's like it's rape culture. Like that is not listening to people saying no, and so I was able to start saying no to hugs because people were like very brutish about guilting people into giving hugs.
Yeah, but like Burning Man, like there's kind of a Burning Man theme of the.
Sorry,
Not to judge if you
I
like
did
Burning Man.
not mean to get elevated, but like I don't like when people guilt people into giving physical attention.
There was a lecture sometimes. Oh, you don't know how to hug. I'm like, I'm
still
going to break
gross.
your knees if you don't let me
Yeah.
go.
And I think that was something I learned through there is like, no, like body autonomy is important. And
Okay, let me throw a question at you then. Is
Yeah.
it because we were exposed in a way that because we were inclusionists and because we had to make space for everybody to feel welcome, were we at a little bit of a disadvantage that sometimes when most people were amazing there.
And
There was 604 rumbles and like 3 bad moments.
And most people were appreciative
10
of
bad moments?
having those
How many bad moments were there?
Bad moments?
Well, I don't mean like deaths. Deaths were like
no,
unfortunate,
there was no
like,
deaths at there though. You're saying at the rumble, like I don't know. I feel like
we were talking about bouncing, and your brother-in-law asked, "How often do you have to bounce?" I'm like, "Well, I had to be ready to bounce every week."
yeah, because we're
I
downtown.
probably did have to verbally remove somebody maybe every week. I had to talk somebody down, and then
like
ready to fight twice a month, and actually fight under 5 times. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Under 5 times, I was like, how's this going to go?
What's that symbol? What's that symbol, Andrew? Is that a film camera?
I might have a new stain on this.
Which two?
Can we look at that?
What does that symbol mean? Is it a 8mm? Or is it Mickey?
Oh, is the camera stuck?
No. Sorry, we're talking about weird stuff now, and then there's lots of people for tonight. And I hope I'm not being rude. I feel like...
Oh, so this is the second time today I've seen people with some models because Scott got a companion for Dead Kevin named, what's he called him? Dead Roger from the Bay. So the Bay must have had we were wondering.
I was wondering, yeah, we were talking about the mannequins.
We were actually talking about not getting sucked into the mannequins because we want to keep Dead Kevin kind of unique. And if we went and bought...
Oh, 2 people. Oh, hugging. Like this. And their 2 heads beside each other.
Okay. Get off me. Just kidding.
Sorry, I didn't ask for...
We're married.
It's still important to take care of each
I
other.
have not been asking you for consent to hug you. If that's a value, then you are waiting way too long.
No, that's not... No. That... Okay. I love your hugs.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, like, it is 12 years is way too late. Like, did you know you're supposed to ask for a hug? I was like, haven't been. Okay, here we go. Drink this one. Paint this one. Portrait, not landscape, portrait. Okay. What was the best hug you ever had?
Oh, when you hug and my whole back cracks, you like loosen up my whole spine.
Okay, that's a kind of hug. But when was the best hug you had?
No, like every time you hug me. I just love your hugs.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because they're sparse, because you're like, we get so busy, and then sometimes I'm like, hug, and then it's like, it's really nice.
I'm trying to think of the absolute best hug
That would be hard.
I've had. Like a moment.
I hope I wasn't too aggressive.
Well, it is handy that we can watch the video.
I'm
and just
de-escalating
see.
now.
Yeah.
I think it's like really though triggering. Here, this is it. when you're asking about things that I've learned about myself or like
Mhm.
shifts that I've seen,
Yeah.
I feel like those moments might be subtle to some people, but they're very triggering for other people. And when you're like pressuring people into doing something that they don't want to do,
Wait, you mean people or me?
no, I'm thinking of like people asking for like 5-minute hugs
Mhm.
from the gallery, or not
Right.
even just from the gallery, but like it's like I know that I'm not good at this is why I'm pretty decent at teaching consent
Mhm.
at school, because I am 100% still struggling with telling people that I'm uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And so it like takes a lot of chutzpah to like say no to something.
Mhm.
And so like you said, no means no, maybe means no, and yes might be maybe, because
Yes can become maybe at any moment.
and yes
Yeah.
can become maybe too,
Yeah.
changing.
Yeah.
So I think that's really an important thing that I learned.
I think the way I said it was no means no, maybe means no, and yes might mean maybe.
Mhm.
And I would preface that with, or I would finish that with,
And
yes can become a no at any point.
at any time. Yeah.
Now that said, I've developed a number of really handy ways of explaining things to kids because, for instance, I have some athletic kids in my school that don't understand the importance of their future, right? So they kind of get away with stuff because they're in an enclosed system. Like, I don't really care what anybody here thinks of me, anyways. I go, that might be true, but let's say you play in the CFL or the NFL or even just at a university level of football. The first thing that happens when you're a star is somebody's going to contact the news. Some small newspaper is going to contact some people from the high school you went with and ask what you were like in high school. That's a guarantee. Like, and I said, if you have any questions about this, type in hockey scandal, right? And you're going to find university students that were hockey stars and maybe didn't make the best decisions in high school, and when they became hockey stars in university, their poor judgment in high school caught up with them, and they ended up getting kicked off the team and scrutinized and that sort of thing. And so the funny thing is, when I say that, they've already experienced firsthand one of their stars, somebody they really looked up to, having to deal with like some froshing thing they did in high school or what have you, or any of those things.
Mm-hmm. So it's not
unfamiliar. And they don't need to explain. They're like, no, man, I've already seen that. Yeah. And they immediately understand that it is their obligation to start handling themselves in a way that when they're older and if they become famous, should the newspapers want to follow up what were they like in their teenage years, that they hear nothing but good things about them in high school.
That's a really wise way of explaining that to people.
And it works because it's so, is the word ubiquitous correct? If I say it's so ubiquitous that everybody has some sort of experience with somebody that they really admired
being part of a scandal,
running into trouble because they were attached to something they weren't proud of,
right,
as a young person. So,
oh, I see. I thought it was a shadow before.
What?
It's okay.
What?
That, like you said, there might be a new stain on the table.
Over here?
I thought it was a
no, I made a drip and I left it there for a while.
That's okay.
I could have cleaned it up, but I didn't.
Me and my dad are bad boys sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Can I tell funny stories about Felix online, or is this like he needs to grow up and have some privacy?
Oh.
Can I tell the funny story about Felix?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Like this week?
I was just going to say about like his mom called me up and said, Felix has been throwing scissors into the ceiling. And I was like, that doesn't sound like him. And then we had a very cool talk about it, but it was like, it's tough for kids as their brains melt.
Yeah.
And my solution was to go buy him some throwing knives so he's at least not throwing scissors to the roof. Which didn't win me any ex-husband points. I'm low on the ex-husband points this week. But I think that came around and ended up like upping my levels as on ex-husband points. I really like the depth to this.
I was gonna say I like the weight.
Oh, I mean like the thickness, or like the paint lines had I'm not going to work on this anymore.
Don't touch it. Can you leave it for a little bit?
Because of the drips?
Yeah. It's 9:14.
What
I
are you
didn't
telling
know
me?
it was so late. I'm not sure. I don't want the drip. Like, I don't want anything to move right now.
On this?
Yeah.
Oh, no. As long as I'm thoughtful about how I move it, I can just redistribute the... I can even do this. Watch this magic. You ready? I can pull this down a bit. Pull this down a bit. Yeah. Alrighty. It's a good hug painting.
It's really nice. The weight.
So we might have an art show with the paintings that I'm accruing. We are looking forward to having more interaction with the mail. That might be kind of a slow thing waiting to get started because it takes long for the mail to arrive, and we might end up with like hundreds of requests for paintings all at once.
Well, it's super funny because the mail takes time, but then also it closes early, and then we only get home after it's closed sometimes. So.
Right.
So yeah, it's a combination.
We gave ourselves permission to not worry about getting the mail this week because we got so busy.
Mm-hmm.
But it is kind of funny that we had a week off.
We're totally like.
And did amazing during the week
thriving,
off, but we didn't do any preparation for the next week, right?
Because we were just living in the moment, man.
Living large, yeah.
We were just. Ooh, that sounds nice.
Isn't it? Do you want to do it for me?
Only
Or
if
with
it's
me?
helpful.
No.
If you love it, then you do it.
Am I on screen?
Oh, yeah.
It's a bit of a treat, I think, if you're joining us from home and you get to see the paint. Now, I wouldn't normally go out and invest in letters so that I can do this. All right, that's a bit of an extravagant. I'm just making noise with the leftover letters. I bought a package of these letters and I pulled out the Isle of Roux and I pulled out Lost Hero X and ended up with some extra letters left over. Oh, this part's neat because I have a negative space of these ones.
Oh, yeah.
And it is a bit of a ridiculous splurge to just use these for what did we call it? Detritus.
That's right.
Yeah. And but I have a few extra of these, and they were only $7 for the whole package. So once you pulled out the ones you need, there's lots left over.
Right. That is so good. And that's a good use for them.
Right. The leftovers.
Mm-hmm.
I also have in our email some anagrams for the Isle of Roux, and I'd like to work them into some of the themes. Did we have a theme this week? Not
No,
really.
this week has been survival.
Give ourselves some permission to fall behind.
It's not behind anything. We're fine.
We also really, the initial premise of this show was we were going to do a better job of bringing awareness to businesses and people that we really
Dug what they were doing?
yeah, over the years. And the funny thing is, to some extent, is the world a little more reclusive right now?
Mm-hmm.
That we kind of wanted to respect people's space a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
So we were at the market the other day, and I said to somebody, "Hey, we'll do this weird puppet thing if you want us to do any, media." And they kind of froze up, like,
Yeah. Thank you.
"No thanks."
That's
No,
okay.
it's free.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sell you anything.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe our clout is different too. Maybe it's like we have to relearn to earn people's trust because they might not know us very well and they might wonder what we're after.
Right. Like if they don't know that we just like doing videos.
Yeah. And it is weird for people when we offer them something and it's not going to cost anything. They're like, yeah, but what's the catch? It's like, well, catch is we don't have to pay for an art gallery anymore. Really.
Yeah.
There are 7 people with us.
Wow.
But I want to hear somebody's voice. Yours, maybe.
Da, 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 da. That's from Ariel. Da,
Mhm.
da, da. Oh my gosh, if I finished the,
Mm-hmm.
could you imagine?
Wait, the band?
The.
Did you listen to the band the?
No,
You did like the them.
I listened to them. That was my joke. I'm just so slow.
Mm-hmm. I just saw a pretty good zinger about the election, but I am also trying really hard to be supportive. I'm going to add some people to my Facebook because I deleted a bunch of people, and I'm hoping to make some new friends. So
That's cute.
what?
I don't know. Just like making new friends.
Just adding people, yeah. Generally, what I do is I just glance, and if they have like lots of mutual friends, and they're people that make sense to me, I just click like hello, and then I have this horrible like feeling. They're like, why would you click me? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like, I just deleted 20 people, and I thought I was gonna plump up my friendships again.
But like you said, it's kind of nice to get to know people.
Getting to
Especially
know
because
you.
we're
Well, what
like,
do you think
doing
when you
different-
get a friend request? You get freaked out? Or
I ignore them.
yeah. See, what I would expect is that if I sent these friend requests, that they would look and see, oh, what's that guy about? And then they might see that we have some of the same friends.
Common, yeah. That's what I look
And then
for too.
I'd love it if somebody said, actually, well, can you tell me why you sent me a send request? And I'll be, wow, I just deleted around 20 people. And I'm going to use this social media. I have lots of social media friends, and I'm very grateful.
But like you said, it's just nice to get to know new people.
I just smelled something. It's fantastic. Okay.
What do you think, Rich Teru?
I'm going to do one more painting. Is it 9:22? Are you super tired? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm really tired, but I'm just sewing. So. What are you doing?
I'm looking for a photo. I had an idea. Well, I like those letters, so I thought I might do a self-portrait. And I kind of knew which image I was going to work from. And then it's taped to the wall so it doesn't fall off.
Oh, that's nice.
Funny. Tonight, this time I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 paintings. How many minutes are left?
Well, it's 9:23.
I got 10 minutes to do one more painting. Do you remember when I threw my phone on the ground? It's just weird behavior on my part. Why you gotta be like that, Rich Teru? I don't know.
Tell me, Rich Teru.
Okay.
How'd you get that way? I don't know.
I know how I got this way. Where's my blue? Oh. All right, can you tell me something?
Yeah.
Do you have a headache?
No.
Okay, but you're super tired?
Yeah. I've been tired for days. It's I'm not good at going to sleep late and then having to wake up early.
Okay.
It's like it's okay. It's just my body. It's just me. That's good.
Thanks. Still 5 people. Are you picking a song for tonight? This picture that I'm drawing from reminds me of that kind of era with the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer movies.
I always think of pretty good songs in between weeks. And then I get so tired that I forget.
Have you ever sang a Joe Purdy song in your life?
I don't know Joe Purdy very much, I don't think. Oh, wait. You made me think of something, huh?
What did you think of?
I'm trying to think of the melodies. It would be a nice surprise if I could think of the melody.
You could go in the bathroom and play it if you're trying to surprise.
Oh, is that okay?
Yeah,
I don't want to leave you alone, but is that okay? Because it would be nice.
100%. When Oliver was young, he had like some food aversions, and if I was eating something he didn't like, he'd like, go eat that in the bathroom. It was gross to him. And I felt shunned. My food aversions are all things like mustard. When I used to work at Jumbo Job, I had to make sandwiches, and if I got mustard on my hand, it was like I wanted to cut my hand off to get away from the mustard. And then I was with Galen the other day. He's like, well, have you ever tried it, or you just don't like the look of it? I'm like, come on, man. Like, as if I haven't tried mustard. It ends up getting all over everything. Can't tell you how many times I've ordered a burger and they put mustard on it. And you know how you find out there's mustard on your burger? You bite into it, and then you barf. Sorry. Maybe you love mustard. Maybe I went over the line. Did you hear it already? The song you want to surprise me with?
Yeah.
Isn't that nice? Isn't it? Is it Cyndi Lauper?
Yeah. It's actually interesting because I
Is it the Thompson Twins?
heard this song from, you said Joe Purdy, and it made me think of another kind of folksy singer-songwriter.
Folksy singer-songwriter.
And then I heard this song. I really loved it, like crying loved it. And then I realized that the Killers wrote it and did it originally. Yeah. And so I heard it done by like someone strumming his guitar and singing. And then like on a just whim. And then I really liked the song.
How much Killers do we have on vinyl?
We have the greatest hits.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I was going through a phase where like I own a lot of Killers, and why would I buy the Killers on vinyl? Because I have it like on my phone and don't want to buy everything twice. And then so we didn't buy proper albums of the Killers.
Yeah.
And then you have a greatest hits, which like never a solution.
Never a solution, people. If you learn anything from the
live recordings, I'm super happy with.
Yeah.
Movie soundtracks, if I want like a random assortment of things. But greatest hits just seems to be like, well, you're guaranteed the pop smashes, you know.
But then do you kill
kill
the pop smashes?
Well, no, I meant like you miss like the side Bs and the soulful stuff that they wanted to produce.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's time for you to sing.
Okay, I got you. I did my best to notice when the call came down the line, up to the platform of surrender. I was brought, but I was kind. And sometimes I get nervous when I see an open door. Close your eyes, clear your heart. Cut the cord. Are we human or are we dancers? My sign is vital, my hands are cold, and I'm on my knees looking for the answer. Are we human or are we dancers? Pay my respects to grace and virtue. Send my condolences to good. Give my regards to soul and romance. They always did the best they could. And so long to devotion. You taught me everything I know. Wave goodbye, wish me well. You've gotta let me go. Are we human or are we dancers? My sign is vital, my hands are cold, and I'm on my knees looking for the answer. Are we human or are we dancers?
That's good. That's really, really good. Thank you for so much tonight. Thank you so much for tonight.
Thank you so much. And thank you for so much tonight.
I love you and you and you.
I love you and I love you. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Andrew
Did you click
and
in?
Chris. And no.
I'm going to do that. No, I'm going to do it. You say goodbye to everybody.
Just thank you, everyone, for joining. Scott and everyone who is joining us. Thank you.